Genesis 3. This is a crazy chapter. Now, why this chapter is so important for me is it answers the one question that you find in every human heart, and that is, why? Why has this happened to me? Why is this? Why does bad things happen to good people? Why? All the answers are actually in this chapter, because the patterns and the principles for the fallen nature is laid down in this chapter. This is where we read how did humanity fall. But it's not just a story. Everything is literally principles and patterns laid down. Verse 1, it takes us right into the first principle that governs time in the natural fallen creation, and that is lies. The whole natural world is conducted with lies. In Romans, he says people have turned the truth of God into a lie. John writes in 1 John 2:21, he says, no lie is of the truth. Imagine that. No lie is of the truth. That's the deepest scripture you can get in the Word. So if you are in a lie, you have no sense of the truth and you're going to miss the mark. So if you look at the way businesses is governed, the governments are governed, car deals, everything. The first thing humanity does when a person does when he is born, he starts lying. I remember my children. I came into our lounge and there was this big vase shattered on the ground. And my eldest son, he couldn't walk yet. He couldn't talk. And I'm like, who did this? He's like, It's lying. Before you can even speak, you lie. Have you seen babies? They learn to rule the parents. They don't cry when they're hungry and when they need help. They just cry, which is a lie, for attention. So it's like in the DNA in humanity. And where does it come from? Right here. If we go to verse 1, it says, now the serpent was more subtle than the beast of the field which the Lord had made. And he said to the woman, yea, hath God said, you shall not eat of the tree in the garden. Wow. It's actually what God said, but he brings a twist in it. He puts doubt in her heart. Now, we know that there were two trees in the garden. The one is the tree of life, and the other one was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Wow. It's not good and evil. It's the knowledge of it. And how do you get this knowledge of double? Because the tree of life is single-eyed, single-minded. But the tree of good and evil brings a double in. And he says in Psalm 24, who will ascend the mountain of God? Who will go in his holy place? He that have clean hands and a pure heart. And he says, purify your heart, you double-minded. This we find in James. So it's very important how the word is actually one story. And the whole history that we find in the Bible is governed by the principles we find here. And lies was the number one. In John 8, he says, Jesus said to the Pharisees, you are of your father, the devil. They said, Abraham is our father. He said, no, the devil is your father. He is the liar from the beginning. He's the father of lies. Whoa. The father of lies. Christ was the seed of Abraham. Abraham was the father of faith, which brought forth the seed. But Satan is the father of lies. So the seed he carries is lies. That tree was a lie. It was a tree with a defect, and it had double, good and evil. And that forms the cross. So this is why we find when Jesus came, the tree of life with the sevenfold spirits is now nailed to the tree of good and evil, the tree of curse. And what happens is knowledge is rectified, and it's now the knowledge and the fear of the Lord, and it forms part of the seven spirits that's on the tree of life. This is so awesome. But let's go on. The woman answered Satan, we may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, we shall not eat of it, neither shall we touch it, lest we die. Satan came and he twisted God's words. He says, you will not die. You will actually be like God. Your eyes will open and you will be like God. Now, when he said that, the next principle kicked in. And this is where Adam and Eve missed it.